We are live. Awesome. Well, Jamal, we've got Jamal Andrew Vaughan, we've got Kira Foreman Castillo, and there in the background, we've got Grayson Sierra, painter extraordinaire, who's joined us and showing us some of his incredible live painting. We have such a treat for you today with a whole host of incredible biddable items. I'm talking to you from Panama. Jamal, where are you at right now? Oh, Jamal's checking out a couple of other things. So I'll move to Kira. Kira, where are you coming in? Where are you passing in from right now?
All the way from Belize in the beautiful island of San Pedro.
Excellent. Some of the best diving in Belize as well. Lucky you. Also the site where MarAlliance found that new species of shark, the deep water six-gill Atlantic six-gill shark, Hexanchus vitulus. So, you know, all kinds of things to discover when you're on Ambergris Key. So that's pretty cool. Grayson.
Yes.
Hello. Hi. How's it going over there?
Going great. Having fun.
Excellent. My God, that's a beautiful. And tell us a little bit. Kickstart us here and tell us a little bit about what you are painting.
Well, I'm painting the greater hammerhead shark, one of my favorite sharks, because they are so beautiful, and you know, we are blessed to have these fish in the Caribbean and in my homeland of Belize. I wanted to pick something that is striking, but stunning, and that would bring awareness to these species and the family of sharks in general, you know. And so that's why I chose the specific species of hammerhead sharks, right? And I hope the lucky winner will appreciate this as much as I do, you know, because when they get a piece of my art, they're getting a piece of my heart, you know.
Well, Grayson, you are one of the top wildlife artists, not just in Belize, but in Central America. Your art is actually stunning. We can see some of it on the back wall there. And I would urge everybody to go and visit Grayson Sierra at his studio as well. But just tell us briefly what your background is and why it's so incredibly special that you should actually be painting fish and sharks.
Well, honestly, I grew up in Placentia here, and Placentia being a peninsula, almost surrounded by water, which is fun for a kid growing up here, right? We used to go and dive as kids right off the beach on the palm trees, and you know, just growing up seeing all these beautiful aquatic creatures, it kind of a part of who I am now, and that's why I try to portray what I grew up around on canvas. And you know, when I went to college, I studied a bit of tourism and environmental science, and going on field trips further out, you know, on the reefs, you know, you get to see these beautiful creatures sometimes, and you know, it's just in my blood. I come from a family of commercial fishers, and now myself, I am a sports fishing guide. You know, I catch the fish, but I throw them back now, and it's an honor to do that. You know, to just keep preserving the marine life as best as I can, and through my paintings, you know, I try to portray conservation. Most of my subjects especially in my marine art, is they're endangered species. So whenever you buy one of my painting, I try to spread awareness and give you a story behind my paintings. You know, hammerhead.
Grayson, you know, Grayson, that the great hammerhead is actually a critically endangered species now. So it's a lot of the hammerheads have been elevated to critically endangered status by the International Union for the Conservation of Nature. So all that tells us is that their numbers are their population sizes are very small. quite fragmented also. And so the fact that you're raising awareness for these particular species or this particular species definitely is significant. And I'm really grateful to you for that. I was going to say, I just want to welcome anybody and everybody who is online right now, and we'll be seeing how you get on with your painting as the hour progresses. But everybody, you're here, and I'm just going to share my screen for a sec, if I may. Okay. There we go. Voila. So I am going to share my screen with you and just, there we go. If I go into full presentation, I lose the entire screen, so I'm not going to do that. But I do want to say I am so grateful to everybody who's joining us today on this first ever MarAlliance auction. And the reason we did this is because we have so much wonderful work and so many great endeavors that we would love to share with everybody worldwide and also get some support from. And we thought, how better than to actually promote some incredible prizes, auction prizes, items that many donors have very kindly offered to MarAlliance, and raise awareness for the species, as Grayson is doing with the great hammerheads, and yeah, be part of or partner with MarAlliance in raising the funds for what we do. And you might ask, in fact, what is it that we do? And so we conduct science, we do a lot of capacity building and training, and we love to inspire the public and people to rewild many of these threatened species like great hammerheads, to repopulate them in our seas. This is really important to us, and it's kind of the driving mission. And the best bit of it is that we do this with fishermen, we do this with local students, with decision makers, marine protected area managers, and so much more. So a lot of really key stakeholders are part of the MarAlliance community. And just so you know, in case you weren't sure what the bids might be supporting, your bids are supporting a lot of different aspects of our work. So community-based marine science and monitoring, fisheries monitoring, small-scale fisheries monitoring, better understanding what's being caught, where, when, how old are those fish? So there's a lot of age and growth and that kind of science being conducted as well. Looking at how we can derive economic supplementation or alternatives for especially fishers who are looking to segue away from maybe more unsustainable styles of fishing, but they want to keep fishing, but they want to ensure that there's fish for the future. And working with marine protected area managers and other stakeholders, we're looking at marine and coastal habitat protection. Of course, we love education and outreach, so we've done a lot of work in that sector and engaged a lot of people towards attitudinal and even behavioral change towards some of the species that we've been discussing, including, hammerheads, sharks, etc. And finally, all this comes together to actually make an impact and changes in policy. And policy is kind of the framework within which all of conservation exists. And so really, ultimately, we are trying to promote community-based research conservation. That's kind of the ethos of MarAlliance. So for those who may not know us very well, we may have started in Belize. MarAlliance was created in 2014. We're coming into our 10th year. So we're really excited about that. And we've got with us Kira Foreman Castillo, whom you see with a wonderful logo in the background. And Kira is our national coordinator. And we also have Jamal Andrew Bowen, who is our special projects coordinator. And painting right now is MarAlliance partner Grayson Sierra, the fabulous wildlife painter. But our staff is actually spread across 9 different countries. And we are currently working in 5, and that will be expanding in 2024. So if you want to find out more about what we do in detail, then please definitely go and visit our website, super easy, maralliance.org, and find out what we do, and especially why we focus on these big threatened species. It's not just all about sharks or rays, but it's about a range of other marine species that live long lives. Some of the species we work with live 100+ years. Believe it or not, some of the groupers that might be caught in your regular fishing, etc., they can live 50 to 100 years. Some of the sharks we work with, whale sharks, can live over 100 years easily. So, and then we don't just work with the fish, we also work with reptiles such as the turtles. And Kira's going to be telling us a little bit more about that. And we do work with species that are on the brink of extinction, and those are the sawfish. So we got a little bit of a story to tell you on the sawfish later on during this hour. And we wouldn't be able to do the work without the partnership with traditional fishers and their incredible knowledge. Each of them have PhDs of the sea, absolutely fantastic. And working together, scientists and traditional fishers, has been a very powerful combination, and that has proven very successful for better understanding of fish, helping create policy, improving sustainability of fishers, and more over 25 years. And that's just to give you a couple of images of several of the fishers that I've trained up over the years who are now running the research, and especially with sharks, and then basically training other people, which is great. And so a lot of what we do is monitoring. If you don't know what you have, how can you protect it? So, in the case of terrestrial animals, we know, for example, we have about 20,000 lions left in the world, or we have about 100,000 elephants. It's a lot easier to be able to count animals on land than it is in the sea. And so we've actually been pretty innovative and ahead of the curve in being able to estimate population sizes for some of these species. And again, a lot more detail can be found on our website in MarAlliance. So speaking of, how many different species do we have, especially of sharks? That brings me to the first prize highlight, which is the incredible guide for sharks of the world. And in fact, in our advisory committee for MarAlliance, we have all the key authors for this Sharks of the World. So led by Dave Ebert, Sarah Fowler, and Mark Dando, the unbelievable illustrator. We actually have a fully signed copy of Sharks of the World. And I know folks are bidding on it, which is brilliant. So don't miss out. This is a very low cost item, but put your bid in and there's a really good chance you might be able to get it. So get in there and get your bids in. You can go with small increments and see whether you take home this incredible book. Everything you wanted to know about sharks in one pocket book. And then that way, when people are saying, that's a black tip shark, you can go, well, did you look at the placement of the first and the second dorsal fin? Did you look at whether it had black tips on the actual anal fin and the pelvic fins? See, you're going to become a shark expert just by looking at Sharks of the World. What do you say, Kira?
Yeah, that's all great to become a shark expert, Rachel, but it's not all about sharks, at least not for me.
Oh my God, I'm shocked. How can it not be all about sharks, Kira? I can't believe you'd say anything like that. What else could it be about?
Well, if you look in the corner of the little logo behind me, there's also a turtle in the logo.
Yeah, that turtle did sneak in, didn't it? It really did sneak in. And why would you want to do anything with turtles? Kira, tell us a little bit your story.
Well, I grew up, daughter of a fisherman, being around the marine environment all of my life. My dad used to catch turtles. Actually, that's why I got introduced to turtle necropsy. Hanging around, watching them clean, finding out what's this connected to, where's the lungs, where's the liver, which has actually helped me in my career quite a bit when it comes to rehabilitation. But yeah, hanging around the marine environment, developing that love for it. And what they also instilled, it wasn't just that about the fishing, but the love for it, and that we do need to care for it. Even though we're catching, we still need to care. And so that started off my work. That I'm working with Isaias Mahil at the Fisheries Department, who I could recall saying, Kira, the minute you work with the first turtle, you're hooked. You're going to be hooked, which is exactly what happened.
I know, and we're still trying to hook you on the sharks. We're getting there, but I know that you're still very much about turtles. So, even though we've got this incredible other prize highlight where we can focus on sharks, and they're bull sharks, so some of our favorite species, right? And we get them up near where you live in San Pedro, but we also get them in throughout the Mesoamerican Reef, and we have this incredible prize donated by Ceci Gutierrez and Isabel Palavente, diving with bull sharks in Playa del Carmen. So and this forms part of a citizen science project. So even though we love turtles, we still also love sharks. So whoever has not bid on this one, really good price. Really good price, great experience. I have actually done it. Several of our team have done it. We're going to be working a lot more with the cooperative of the tour operators who are helping promote bull sharks in Playa del Carmen. But we're not going to continue going down the shark avenue too long, because we have to pull back and talk about turtles, because I know that's what you love, Kira. So tell us a little bit about what's happening here.
Yeah, so one of the things that also, apart from Rachel's awesome personality, I love her dearly, that drew me to Mara was the work that we're also working with turtles, and we're learning the research is discovering awesome stuff. We've had a lot of new highlights. So in the photo here, we can see the guys with this really huge loggerhead. It's a male, and what we're looking at are the males. We know a lot about females, but there's very little that we know about what's going on with the males, and they're kind of important to the population of turtles out there. We kind of need the males. With climate change, we have more females hatching on nesting beaches. So it's very critical at this time that we understand their movements, where they're going and how they interact within the population. So this is what we're doing, is we're putting satellite tracking devices on these males, and we're monitoring them to see where they go. This was started before I came on in 2022, and the work that was started in 2022 has yielded some really amazing results in 2023, and where they're going.
I'm trying to make a change here so you can actually see where are you, my Mr. There we go.
And just so everybody know that it took more guys than that to actually lift that guy. That's how big and heavy they are. Yeah, so here on the screen you could see some of that data, and you can go to our website. It's all live. You can go there to the MarAlliance website, and you can look at the tracking at any time to see where these guys are going. And so each of those little orange dots is a turtle that we were tracking. Currently, we're tracking 6 of them, if I recall
Yes.
correctly. We have 6 of them still record sending their signals. So what was interesting was the turtles that were tagged in 2022. In 2023, just at the start of the nesting season, and these are the loggerhead turtles that I'm going to be focusing on. We do have a hawksbill in the group, but for the loggerheads, yeah, they took off, and we were like, where are they going? What are they doing? We know that females migrate. We know that females move across borders. We have turtles that were tagged in Costa Rica, coming to Belize, and going back and forth between all of these countries. But we didn't know whether males did the same thing. But now we do, thanks to the satellite tagging and the support that everyone out there gives to us. It helps us to continue this work. So I don't know if you have. Is this the only? Do you have the other one, Richard?
I don't, because I don't want to give too much away, because then people can go onto the tracking page, and they can do one of two things. First of all, they can see the more recent tracks, or let's say the full aspect of the track from just the past, I'd say 60 days or so. And if they're at all interested, they can even adopt one of these turtles. So you can get in touch with us and adopt one of them.
And one of the ones that are up for adoption right now is actually one of my favorites, because it's the one up in the north, because he did a lot of exciting movements. It's the first one that I tagged with Mar, officially with Mar. And it's been moving quite a bit and giving us a lot of really interesting data. So yeah, I would invite everyone to go and check it out. Go to the website and see where he's gone. So in the picture, he's up in the north. If you visit the site, you'll see where he is today.
Absolutely. And there's a really good point, and I thank Jamal for that. I think it's Jamal who just put it up, basically saying we do have a fabulous painting of a turtle in deep thought. And I'm just going to share with you, and I certainly hope you don't get angry with me, Jamal, but I'm not entirely sure turtles are capable of very deep thought. I don't think sharks are very capable of very, very deep thought either. Some reflection probably, but maybe not deep thought. But nonetheless, the art is beautiful. So do bid on it. It's a lovely piece from a local artist in Ambergris Caye. Super. So yes, so from turtles, and so all of this kind of work with sharks, work with turtles, etc. Doesn't that give you the desire to come and work with us? You get a couple of days with us. You actually get 3 days with us, hands-on learning about the techniques to monitor the science that we do and so much more. And you get to actually be with the whole MarAlliance team that is going out for the long-term monitoring. And all I can say is that pretty much everybody I've talked to who has joined us, a lot of our supporters and decision makers and more, have just been blown away by the experience, and have walked away saying, "Wow, that was in some cases a life-changing experience." So I don't know if all of you had any thoughts or feedback on that, because you've seen people coming off of this experience.
Yeah, definitely. I would encourage everyone to come out and try it. But just from some of the expeditioners last year, having spending some time with them and being up close, especially when it comes to the tagging, and for what is being offered in this price, it's going up for one of our prime sites.
Yep.
And you'll more than likely get your hands involved, get to put a tag on a turtle, hopefully, a big male, and we do need more hands to lift those guys. So everyone's welcome. But yeah, just listening to some of the experiences from them and having to get up close. I think this year, Rachel, we had turtles coming up next to one of the tents for the expeditioners.
Yeah, we did.
Right next to their tent. So
yeah, I've never seen people so excited, and then completely on their own, they said, "We're doing a beach cleanup. We want to make sure that the turtles can come up into the beach unimpeded." And Kira was checking the viability of whether it had nested or not, and working with the Belize Audubon Society, our partners at Lighthouse Reef Atoll, fabulous Belize Audubon Society. So really great partnership there. It was a magical morning. It was a magical expedition in general. Our field expeditions always are.
Can I hop in just to add to the prize highlight? Because the three of you trying to sell marine wildlife is like preaching to the choir. Of course you're biased. So let the terrestrial guy hop in and vouch for how amazing this species is. Because as you all know, sharks, turtles, none of those were my forte before working with Mar. So I can attest as a land lover how life-changing the experience is. Not just, and obviously a core part of it is being that close to these magnificent animals, but also working with the team that Rachel and Kira have highlighted, this amazing grassroots team of traditional fishers, young Belizean scientists, and to use the cliche, the next generation of conservationists, but to see them actually devoted to studying, understanding, advocating for these animals, I think is what also makes this experience so powerful. The stories that they share with the people like myself that get to go out there for the first time and see these animals up close. That, I think, is a core part of this life-changing aspect. And I would do it again in a heartbeat.
Especially considering that you might be able to get life distribution extensions for birds, because you're
exactly.
a bird guy, and you had some extensions for, what is it, range extension for a species or two. And so
yes,
you not only got the sharks and the turtles, but you got your birds. So you're happy man.
Exactly. All species covered. Mar does all. Mar all.
Oh my gosh. I was wondering whether we should check in with Grayson and see how he's getting on. Is he on, or we can do that?
Grayson
Or
is. Oh, let me bring him back.
we just need to move this little banner at the bottom. It's a little hard.
I will move it.
There we go. Oh, look at that. Oh my goodness, Grayson, that is gorgeous. That is beautiful. And you guys can go on and bid for this live at the moment because it is absolutely stunning. Great hammerhead. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Fantastic. Well, going back to sharks again, let me just go ahead and share my screen. Oopsies. There we go. I'm going to share. And there we go. So now you know that it would be quite good fun to actually join us and in the field. So I hope you'll be able to do that. It would be great. And, you know, one of the field sites where we're also going to be working a lot is Gladden Spit, actually a marine protected area that I helped get declared. Holy mackerel, almost 24 years ago. And the visiting whale sharks, which are maybe not visiting as frequently or as, I'd say as frequently as they used to by far. But that's one of the reasons why we're going to be going back there and figuring out what's going on. And this is actually Grayson Sierra's backyard. So he might be painting a hammerhead. However, he is very well versed in all things snappers, groupers, and whale sharks as well. So speaking of Gladden Spit and the whale sharks, one of the reasons we're going back there is because it used to be a hotspot for whale sharks. And of course, very large aggregations of spawning snappers like Kubera snappers or dog snappers, and of course, mutton snapper, which is a key fishery for many fishermen in the Placencia, Independent, Same Bite area. And so that's why I'm super excited that Brian Scarry, who actually came to Gladden Spit with me many years ago and took some iconic shots of the spawning aggregation at Gladden Spit and some of the whale sharks, is also donating one of his most beautiful prints. And this was actually came out of a trip that I did with him, an expedition I did with him in Mexico. And it was a really funny situation because in Belize or in some parts of Mexico, the water is clear enough so you can see the whale shark quite a ways away. However, in the more kind of emerald green waters of north of Holbox, this wonderful fishing and small-scale tourism community in the northern Yucatan Peninsula, the waters are quite green because of a lot of nutrients, and you've got these zooplankton blooms, etc. And this is a place that draws not only whale sharks but also manta rays. But when you're getting in the water to actually swim with a whale shark, half the time you cannot see the animal until the very last minute. So I'll never forget being with him. We'd see what looked like a fin from far away. We'd orient him. We'd get Brian Scarry in the water because he had to be shooting for National Geographic. He did an incredible layout in National Geographic called Meso Amazing about the Mesoamerican reef. And it was so funny because he'd be there with his very large camera rig in the water. And then we'd be going, left, 11 o'clock, Brian. No, 10 o'clock. It's 10 feet, 8 feet, 6 feet. It's right next to you. And so he would literally take the picture at the very last minute. So the fact that he's captured some of this incredible picture with the accompanying fish and a young juvenile whale shark is stellar. So if you like whale sharks and you want a beautifully mounted image that is globally known, and limited series by Brian Scarry, then do please bid on this because it will support some of the work that we're doing in Gladden Spit with the spawning aggregations and the whale sharks. So this is where I'm going to pass the baton over to. Have we lost Jamal?
Yeah, I was wondering. I saw him disappear.
He probably saw a bird in the tree because he loves birds. And just as much as I love sharks, you love turtles, Grayson loves painting, Jamal loves birds. So he probably saw, I don't know, what was it? There was this very special owl that was all over the place in Placencia, and people were driving hundreds of kilometers to see it. So maybe that's one of those. Kira, do you want to tell us a little bit about some of the education that we've done and that we are going to be doing also coming up?
Yeah, sure. So one of the things we do is outreach and education. This is how we inspire the younger generation. And what is unique about our approach is not always myself as a coordinator or research or Rachel doing the research, but it's the fishers themselves who are taking the lead. So in the picture here, we can see Hilmar, who's one of our fisher partners that we work with. Ah, here comes Jamal, he's back. And I'll hand you back the baton right now, Jamal, to continue to talk about education and outreach. But yeah, so here we can see Hilmar, and he's a fisher that has been working with Mar for over 14 years, if I recall correctly. And he's the one going out mainly along with the other guys, and they're educating the next generation. So it's fishers educating not all other fishers as well as the next generation of kids. And some of the programs that we've had is like the kids meet shark. And what is unique about this program is that it has inspired several persons now working within conservation within Belize have gone through this program, and they have been inspired to enter conservation just because of going out there, getting up close and personal. I think, Rachel, you guys have had some experience with this recently, where you had people, someone who had been out in the as part of the program who's now working and had they're now, that was one of their highlights, that was that made that spark in them. So we've done many amazing things through the education and outreach. I don't know if you want to add to some of that, Jamal, because I know you have been involved in the education and outreach work for a lot longer than I have.
No, you got it on the head, Kira, but also I think it's important to know that these opportunities, they mirror, or they add additional examples of what you described when you first got your interest, just being around. I think you described, your first turtle necropsy or trying to figure out the inner workings of it. I think these interactive, experiential learning based opportunities are critical on a series of levels. For one, it helps debunk and diffuse that fear, the knee jerk, the visceral reaction that has been fostered in popular culture for a lot of these animals. So they help drop the veil for a lot of these animals that are in these areas, particularly sharks and other top predators that people have been taught to fear. It's not inherent; it's taught. And so I think once they have a platform where they're talking to people that are knowledgeable, especially they see people like themselves, they see Hilmar, they see Clara. I know Clara isn't here now, but we have a lot of these young and up and coming folks that they can relate to, that are experts in their own right. I think that resonates with them, that they're seeing people like themselves in positions of authority, speaking, in a comfortable manner about and speaking knowledgeably about why these animals are fascinating. This is how they work. This is what they do. This is their life histories. I think it helps build that empathy with these animals, that they don't see them as mindless eating machines or things that should just be harvested. They have their own personalities, their own identities. So that's the hook, and that works in all realms of conservation. That's the hook, getting their curiosity, and then taking it further with these opportunities to really jump into understanding how these animals thrive in these areas. And you won't catch everyone, but at the very least you'll get a small cadre of folks that will take it to the next level, that will remain involved and become part of the team, hopefully down the road, if not with Mar, with other organizations that do this work. But at the very least, you have people then that grow up with that appreciation, and they may be able to influence change in their own fields and expertise. I mean, I think this auction is living proof of that. You have a massive variety of contributions. So people that aren't necessarily shark biologists or shark conservationists that have given to the cause because they feel so strongly about it. So they may be that they're in a position to donate a painting, or they may be able to donate a fantastic overnight stay at a resort because they have someone that nurtured that appreciation for these animals, and they want to give back in their own way. Even if they're not doing the science They may have done it at some point with Mar, and they want to give back. So I think that is remarkable as well.
And I think what's really exciting, and thank you so much for that, Jamal. And I know that we had to pause a lot of the education during the pandemic, and that was really hard for us because we love the kind of education, especially with primary students, where the light bulb ignites and you just see this big change. And just like Kira had alluded to, we have folks who are in our first cohort of Kids Meet Sharks program, our Niños del Mar, or Kids of the Sea as well in other countries, and they're now in positions of authority. They're now in positions where they are leading NGOs or projects and such. And they've actually said, we were inspired by some of these projects early on. So we know that these have massive impact, and not just in the outreach that you have on land, like you see with Hilmar, with these students here, but also the experiential. And we find that experiential, just hands-on, immediately out in the field, is what completely changes so many people's vista, which is another reason why we're just like, if you have not experienced an expedition with us, please do so, because it really is mind-blowing and often life-changing. I was going to say also, another thing that we're hoping to bring back is we have a whole VR program that we took to the schools. Jamal, you were doing a wonderful job with Hilmar, getting the 360 and 180 degree videos out so that kids that we can't necessarily take to the sea, or the teachers, they can actually experience what it's like swimming with a lot of hammerheads, or swimming with a whole host of Caribbean reef sharks, which are in our waters, that type of thing. So if you can't take them to the sea, bring the sea to them. So we can see that Grayson is making incredible progress with his great hammerhead shark painting. That's just stunning. I'm just always blown away by all of your paintings, Grayson. Oh my gosh. Where's my bid? I got a bid. I have to bid.
That would look nice in the office, Rachel. Just saying.
Yeah, it could actually. Good point. But I'm just hoping that we're going to have some folks who will definitely bid on this stunning painting. Let me go back to my screen and just share with you a couple of other things that are going on, if I may. Let me just see the screen. There you go. Okay. How do I show my screen again, Jamal? Mr. Compare. And by the way, I just saw a scarlet tanager. Just saying.
Very nice.
I don't just do fish ID. Multi-talented I am. Okay. So speaking of education and our desire to just imbue the next generation with an ethos of wildlife love and conservation, be it for fish, be it for birds, be it for just loving nature, we couldn't be more thrilled than to have the support of Dave Matthews and the Dave Matthews Band. He very generously donated 2 tickets to our auction, and the bonus, as he said, he would handwrite a note to whoever wins the bid with his own art. So he likes to do wildlife doodles and sketches and stuff. So I don't know what he's going to do, but he said he would send that on to the winning bid, and that's for any city in his next summer 2024 summer tour. So 2 tickets right there. So again, a huge thanks to Dave Matthews for being such a supporter. And I know we have several bids. So it'll be interesting to see who is going to put in the final bid for Dave Matthews. TikTok, indeed. So on that point, everything that we've talked about has been absolutely critical to slowly shifting attitudes and even behaviors that will allow some of these species to persist for generations to come. We know they're very long-lived, and we know that they've been hit hard, either through direct interventions, so direct fisheries, or also pollution, habitat loss, and more. But what we're seeing over the course of of community engagement in the work that we do, we are able to actually get people really excited about stewarding these animals moving forward. And this is just an example of Ivan Torres, one of the fishers we are privileged to work with, who used to catch sharks, and now he tags and releases them. And we're really, really proud to be able to partner with Ivan in the work that we do. And we've seen over the course of years, because we do the monitoring, we can see how populations are doing. And we can see whether enforcement or marine protected areas or certain policies may be working. And in fact, we're able to actually, with all of our fisher partners in the monitoring, see firsthand and measure firsthand this repopulating of certain species. And the first species usually to go when there are hard-hitting fisheries tend to be the large-bodied and some of the longest lived animals, like the sharks. And we are starting to see the sharks coming back, especially in Belize. We've got a ways to go in some of the other countries where we work, Mexico, Cape Verde, Panama, Micronesia, and more. But using our same approach as in Belize, we are starting to see some really positive changes in not only fishing, but also attitudes. And in Belize, it takes many years, but we are finally seeing increases in population. And that gives us huge, huge hope. So we're very, very thankful to everybody who has supported us in all of these endeavors to monitor, to educate, to engage, to train our partners, to engage with policymakers and more, because it takes money, it takes funds to do, and it takes a long-term commitment. And one of the long-term commitments that we're really, really proud of is the net ban. It took 20 years to get the first big national net ban globally in Belize. And because of that, we are starting to see a comeback of certain species like great hammerheads that are very readily caught in nets, or even guitarfish. We're hearing that guitarfish are starting to come back in certain coastal areas because there's, I wouldn't say complete stoppage of nets. There's still some illegal use of nets, but generally speaking, we, as in all Belizeans, have evened out the fishing field so that it's fairer and more equitable, and fishing effort is fairer across all fishers, as opposed to some fishers having all of the fishing effort by being able to put out a net and having 100 times more fishing effort than folks putting out hook and line. So that, and also the protection of the atolls from fishing sharks. So that would be Turneff, Lighthouse, and Glovers. And Turneff and Glovers were already somewhat protected, but we'd been pushing since 2012 to get Lighthouse Reef protected with the support of the traditional fishers using Lighthouse Reef. And 10 years later, this became a reality in 2021. So I think a combination of these policies and increased stewardship, we should be seeing some of these long-lived, vulnerable, and sometimes critically endangered species coming back in the waters of Belize. And this is good for Belize. This is hugely good because we need all of these species in order to try and maintain the health of our marine systems, especially our coral reefs, which have been recently very hard hit by the extremely long duration of higher temperatures. And so there's been a lot of bleaching, and all of this has been monitored by our colleagues and friends at Fragments of Hope. And I just want to make a special shout out to them. Please go and visit them, visit their site, Fragments of Hope, because they're doing incredible work to try and restore corals, not only in Belize, but setting the stage for community-based coral restoration across multiple countries in the world. So one of the species that I mentioned has been that we're seeing slowly coming back, and hopefully we'll see them really coming back, is it actually the species that Grayson is painting, which is the great hammerhead, Sphaerna mocaran. And just a few months ago, we had the very good fortune of catching a couple of these and putting satellite tags on them so we could track their movements. And this is the release of one of them. For this.
Okay, we're gonna release them.
Hold on to the board there.
Ready? One. Do the tail.
1, 2, 3.
Go, swim free. Oh, woo!
Oh my gosh, I smile every time I see that because Ivan was so excited, and what was wonderful was that this was a year that his son Rydell was actually working with us. He is also a traditional fisher, and he wanted to learn all about sharks and hammerheads. And he told me afterwards his hands were trembling. He was so unbelievably emotional about that capture and release of a 12-foot female hammerhead, great hammerhead. So we're really thrilled to see that they're starting to come back. Let's see if I've got a, there we go. Come on, you. There. Okay, so now we're going to check that live painting again. Let's see how we're doing. How are we doing, Grayson?
Almost there.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. And I'm looking at our bids, and our bids have gone up. I'm very pleased. People have been bidding on items. Our amount raised has increased. So we're very, very thankful. We have a reserve amount of 200 US for this beautiful hammerhead that Grayson is working on at the moment. Oh, this is great. Okay, so we're going to keep going because we have a couple more things that we want to share with you. So we'll go back to the we'll go back to our little presentation if we may. Jamal, Mr. Compare. Fantastic. Thank you so much. So like Jamal said, it's not all about being at sea. Sometimes it's really good to be on land as well and see all of the fabulous wildlife on land. And in fact, there's an incredibly important tie between the highlands and the lowlands, so the ridges to the reefs. Jamal, you want to tell us a little bit more about that and how influential that is, and how this particular prize ties in?
Sure. So this prize is you mentioned ridge. This prize is in a particularly amazing landscape and even ecosystem in Belize. We have a stay at Francis Ford Coppola's Blancano Lodge up in the Mountain Pine Ridge, which is in the southwestern portion of the country in the Cayo district. And it is home to an abundance of truly amazing terrestrial wildlife, but also it's a key migratory corridor for a lot of the birds we get, because believe it or not, birds migrate too, not just the marine life. Shocking. I know they have wings, so it's a little easier. And so especially this time of year where it's nice and cool, there's a lot of movement of wildlife. And of course, Blancano and the team there know that. And so they pride themselves in being one of the premier lodges to be able to steep yourself, immerse yourself in this landscape and be able to engage and see these wildlife firsthand. But the ecosystems as well are tied, as Rachel pointed out, because the headwaters for some of the major rivers, or one of the major rivers in Belize, starts off in a sister landscape very near the Pine Ridge, which is not too far from Blancano. And so these areas provide life not just for wildlife and for the ecosystems there, but for a key majority of Belizean people. It provides fresh water for these homes. And obviously, as we know, everything that happens in the headwaters and the origins of these important channels does have impacts further downriver and further downstream as they come out to the sea. So there is a lot of great work being done in these areas. The Blancano Lodge, for example, is right in the heart of the Mountain Pine Ridge Forest Reserve. So there are protected areas that are managed effectively to ensure that they're kept pristine. And of course, that the activities there do not impact those that depend on them, depend on the preservation of those ecosystem services and clean water. And of course, also ensuring that that doesn't spell out any kind of implications for the ones on the coast, and of course, the marine wildlife that MarAlliance works so hard to advocate for and conserve. So you get the best of both worlds if you move all the way up into the heartlands of the Pine Ridge and the Maya Mountains.
And Francis Ford Coppola has also given us another prize item, which is so going from your ridges all the way down to your reef with a stay for 2 at the Turtle Inn, Turtle Inn in Placencia. So right around the corner from where Grayson is, launching point for Gladden Spit Marine Reserve, and just one of the most beautiful hotels you can possibly stay in with incredible, exceptional service. So we're very grateful to both Francis Ford Coppola and his brand manager, Martin Credit, who helped us secure these auction items. So definitely bid, because they are exceptional places to stay. You will not regret it at all. So then that brings me to, because I thought we would do a little transition over to Panama. And so we've got a couple of prizes in Panama. We've got whale watching. We've got a lovely dinner at a sustainable fishing or sustainable fish restaurant called Magu's. Definitely bid on those. And why Panama? Well, we've got multiple projects in Panama, but for the sake of time, we're just going to focus on one really exceptional project. And the person you see in this picture is Jairo Conampio. He is Imbera from the Imbera Wonan indigenous area of Panama on the southeast. And he is the first researcher to be holding a large tooth sawfish in over 20 years in all of Central America. And we are so proud that he has discovered, he'd always heard about sawfish, and we asked him to lead this project. And I've been looking for sawfish for 25 years, and Jairo comes back one day and he goes, "We got one!" And of course I'm like, oh, I'm so envious, and at the same time I'm so joyful that you found this. And it's not only one, it's now been several. So we've identified a hotspot for this unbelievably critically endangered species, one of the most endangered vertebrates in the world. And so a lot of the work that we're doing in this area, not just with fishers, as we do in every country, and that's our ethos, is a partnership with traditional fishers, but now also with women who are traditional basket weavers, and they make these exceptional wildlife masks. In fact, we just showcased these recently with our partners, the Wildlife Conservation Network, who are wonderful supporters of MarAlliance. And every single one of them sold. Every single one of our big sawfish sold. Just to give you an idea, just beautiful work that takes weeks and weeks on end to make. But what this means is that we've now engaged over 100 women in this artisanal work. And these women are part of the families, the fishing families, who actually are catching fish in the rivers, but also sawfish. So it further incentivizes to actually release the sawfish. And in fact, it's helping us also setting up a small sawfish release fund. So it just goes to generating economic supplementation in the communities where we're working. And really, our goal is to go from sawfish fishers, hunters, to CSI, community science investigators, to the stewards, and actually releasing the sawfish. And I'm just going to show you what this looks like right here. Here's a baby. So that was a baby large tooth sawfish. Very few people have ever seen something like this. So we feel very privileged to be able to work not only with the species, but with these communities, and to also see some of these shifts in not only attitudes, but also towards stewardship. So this gives us massive hope. And so whatever bids you are putting towards this auction is helping us to support the communities we're working with and to continue this monitoring work. Our goal is to try and restore populations of large-toothed sawfish in estuarine areas of Panama and hopefully other areas in the Eastern Tropical Pacific. So you might think, giraffes. Do we have giraffes in Belize and Panama, Honduras, Cape Verde, Micronesia? No, we do not. We do not have giraffes. But guess what? We do have fabulous alliances with living institutions and also other institutions, museums, so zoos, aquaria, museums. And the former head of the Houston Zoo has an unbelievable site called Giraffe Manor or Long Neck Manor, sorry. And he has very kindly, this is Rick Baronji, very kindly donated a stay for up to 4 people for 2 nights at Long Neck Manor, which is an exceptional experience. Jamal, I know you wish you could bid on this. I know. There are so many things that we'd all love to bid on, but this one is really, truly exceptional. If you happen to be going through Texas, apparently it's filled up until pretty much 2025, except for when we need it. So you as a lucky bidder would actually get one of the top villas at Long Neck Manor. So if you haven't bid already, consider bidding, because if you can't get all the way out to Africa, you might be able to get to Texas, and it'll be very similar in nature in terms of what you'll be able to see at Long Neck Manor. So we're very grateful for this exceptional gift that Rick Baronji gave us. And I just want to kind of wrap up some of our slides and just saying that we're really committed to shaping new marine conservation scientists. These are just some old photos to show some of the students that we have worked with, we've brought on with the type of work that we do with the marine megafauna monitoring. And many of these in the 2 pictures are now actually either in longer term or graduate studies, or they're in positions of authority. They're leading NGOs, they're leading government sectors, institutions, and we're partnering with them as MarAlliance. So we're really exceptionally pleased with kind of the long generational span of education that we've had for me, it's been 25 years, and of course the 10 years with MarAlliance. And we really truly believe that it's not just folks who can go to university, but also folks who don't have that opportunity, sons and daughters of fishers who sometimes cannot make it to university. The costs are quite high. The 2 arrows are 2 sons of one of the first fishers I ever worked with in Belize, Eloy Cuevas, and this is Elon and Cito Cuevas. And we have the good fortune of being able to work with them now. And this brings me to a last part of what your bids and what all these prizes are going to help support. And that is we just created a new scholarship. It's called the Z Scholarship. It's in name of 2 of our team members who unfortunately are no longer with us, Zeddy Seymour and Zé Luis Monteiro. One was our national coordinator in Cape Verde, and the other, Zé Luis Monteiro, was a traditional fisher and community fisher coordinator in Cape Verde as well. And we wanted to honor their memories. And we also realized that there's a lot of challenges to fisher daughters and sons to actually access university studies, associate's degree or undergraduate or master's or more. And so we created the scholarship, and we are launching it in 2024. So please stay tuned. In 2024, we will have at least 5 scholarships available for late high school and also undergraduate tuition, to cover undergraduate tuition, with a preference for the sons and daughters of traditional fishers. And it can be Belize, Honduras, Panama, Cape Verde, or Mexico, with a preference for sons and daughters of fishers who work with MarAlliance first and foremost. And then after that, we'll open up the competition to everybody with those criteria, who meet those criteria. And I just want to highlight that Rydell of Hammerhead Release fame is our inaugural scholarship holder, and he will be going back to school next year, 2024. He had to stop and pause. He did not have any more money to go, and this will ensure that he can complete his education and he is very keen to continue supporting marine science and conservation. So we're very excited about that. So whatever you bid on, whatever you're helping us with in terms of or getting some of these amazing prizes, those funds are going to in part go to the Z scholarships. And I just want to end with basically saying that we have an incredible team, super diverse, and so committed, so enthusiastic. We are 31 in the core. We're 86 across the 5 countries. And we could not do this if we didn't have your unbelievable support year in and year out. You enable us to continue to have huge hope and be committed towards all of the work that we do in science monitoring, policy support, advising marine protected area managers, all of the engagement with fishing communities, education outreach, and so much more. So it's really, really, it's a really huge thanks to you. And this is just to show you at our recent international AGM, coordinators and officers and a host of our longer term traditional fisher partners joined us in Panama for 3 days of reflection and thought processes and strategic meetings and strategy building, etc., in order to figure out what our next steps over the next 5, 10, and 20 years. Because just the net ban took 20 years. The other piece of policy took 10 years. All of these processes take a very long time, and they're very similar to the life history of many of the species we actually study and we try to preserve, reaching maturity at 5, 10, 15, 20 years and living up to 100 or more. So, you know, I don't know how I can express enough how thankful I am to everybody and anybody who's joined us on this auction, who joins us in the field, who has supported any and all of our endeavors. I don't know, Jamal, Kira, I don't know your perspective on this. I'd love to, I don't want to hog the floor here because I'm just very grateful. That's all I can say. It's gratitude overflowing for the support we've had.
Yes, I feel the same way, Rachel. Very much appreciative and have to say a huge thanks to everybody that supports the work. When you see the impact that it has on these guys and their families when they're out there, the joy that they have and to know that you're supporting, that we're working to support that, and all the donations help to push that. And it means a lot to them and their families. So very tons and tons of gratitude and deep, deep, deep appreciation. Even though I've only joined the team in the past year, it has been very impactful to see how far the support goes.
And what's been really interesting, Kira, is that even though you've only joined MarAlliance a year ago, you have seen us from the very start. I've known you for almost 20 years now. And so you've kind of accompanied us on this journey, but not necessarily being with MarAlliance, but being one of our partners with the Whole Chan Marine Reserve. So it's very interesting that you have this perspective both outside and inside during all this time as well.
Yeah, I've been with Mar for quite a long time, and Rachel's been very persistent with getting me on board, I must say.
Well, I did take you out sharking several times, just trying to move you away from those turtles all the time. It's like there's also lots of love for the sharks, you know. What can I say?
I think there's a lot of project that does very good work. You know, all the conservation projects in Belize do a lot of good work, but to actually see a project that goes directly back to the users, that actually supports them, they're not just there giving them, but they actually support them. I think we were talking to some of the fishers and asking them how much working with us helps to subsidize their livelihood and their income. And we didn't realize some of them said it was like 10% of their income that they depend on working with MAR, and the support that we get from people like those bidding on these prizes, that's what's going to help us to continue to support these families. So,
and up to 25% for some. That's the importance of having diversified their income streams, because fisheries are not what they used to be. But we want to make sure that people have the skills to be able to, I say, be more confident and be more flexible in the coming years, because I think that's the thing. You're just going to need more skills, and you're going to have to be flexible and adapt to the changes. Yes, because many of them are coming down the line now. So we understand that. Any final words, Jamal, as we wrap up our live?
Absolutely. Just to say that I think what you all are touching on is significant, in that we use words like resiliency and adaptability and so on to speaking about the wildlife that MAR is working so hard to conserve, because there are challenges coming down the line for the wildlife. There's massive climatic shifts and socioeconomic shifts that will make or break their survival and resiliency long term. But it's most important, I think, that the resiliency and the safeguardings for the team that you've built is in place. So I think you all, this is what the people watching you, all of you who have supported, the people that have donated, that are taking time to follow the work and try to spread the word. That's what you're contributing to, the resiliency, the adaptability of the MarAlliance team, so that they, by extension, can do the same for these amazing wildlife that we all care for and want to see survive inevitably. So that's what you're contributing to in the long term. So thank you for being part of this journey.
Well, on that note, how are we doing, Grayson?
We spotlight him again.
It's finally completed. I signed it just a few seconds ago.
Fantastic.
That is amazing. In
Pleasure.
how many? Just over an hour.
Oh, you're amazing. Your talent is fabulous. That is great. Oh, and we have a bid as well. So this is great.
Awesome.
So,
Awesome.
woo! Excellent. Well, I would say so. Jamal, since you are you're the compare and the most knowledgeable on this this whole event, people have until what time to finish their bids?
They have until midnight, so the bids remain open. We put all the links. We put them everywhere we can think of. If anyone watching wants to bid, and to get on the website, you can view it without any account, but to bid, you need to make one. It's free. It just needs your email. It's very quick. However, if you're having any challenges with that, or you'd like to bid offline, we do have that option. So you would just need to shoot us a message on whatever platform you like, send an email, and we can help you get that arranged.
Fantastic. No, that's really brilliant. Thank you so, so much. So I would say that without any further ado, I suggest we let people get on with taking a look at that, at what is biddable, and getting in those final bids from folks. Very, very thankful for what you've bid on. And yeah, bid away is what I can say. Grayson, do you want to? I know the painting is wet, but do you want to just? There we go. Sneak ahead in there. Sneak ahead in there. That's fabulous. Grayson, thank you so much for doing this live painting. We're really grateful, and it's nice to know that we already have a bid on your painting. So that's fabulous.
Great.
And to everybody watching, again, thank you for all of your support to MarAlliance. You've got until midnight tonight. If you want to know more about us, go to maralliance.org. Check out our tracking page if you want to adopt a turtle as well. And of course, I know you have choices in end of year fundraising and donating, but we are a tax-exempt charity. And go ahead and think of us in your year-end donation or philanthropy schedule. So donate away and support education, science, community partnerships, and more. So for me, huge thanks. And bid away. Okay, take care.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.